you for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. So let's kind of set this up, and this is kind of a multi-part question, but it's that typical thing in security. We have new technology that enables a stronger threat, and at the same time, we're evolving how we fight these things. So we could think of, obviously AI is becoming a tool for threats as much as defense. Now quantum, it's getting better. There's some rumors of some quantum stuff actually starting to break down some of the ciphers. So, given all this, what kind of gaps do you see in a typical organization, and how do you suggest kind of keeping up with this stuff?
Yeah, so maybe I want to set the context first. We talk about what exactly is this quantum threat to encryption,
Sure.
right? So today, if I want to share information with you securely through the internet or a network, we must first have a common secret, and this is called the symmetric encryption key. So this is okay, but for me to share the key with you before we can start to share information, I protect it using a asymmetric algorithm. Now this is the one that's going to be threatened by quantum because the asymmetric algorithm, for example, RSA and ECC, is based on some mathematical calculation. And quantum computing is able to break these mathematics in a very, very short time, right? So this leads to this threat called the harvest now, decrypt later attack. That means today, I just capture all your traffic. And one day when the quantum computing becomes available, I decrypt it and I can see everything that you have transmitted. So this is the part where quantum computing becomes a threat to asymmetric encryption. And now we have new technologies that are surfacing to mitigate this threat. We call them the quantum secure technologies. So if you ask me about cybersecurity gaps, I don't think it's much of a gap, but rather about how organizations should approach adopting new technology. Right? So in August, the US National Institute of Technology and Standards NIST actually released three post-quantum cryptography standards. They are the FIPS 230, which is a module lattice-based key encapsulation mechanism standard, the FIPS 204, the module lattice-based digital signature standard, and the FIPS 205 stateless hash-based digital signature standard. Very, very complicated, but what it means is that now there are three standards approved by NIST that the industry can then implement in the form of post-quantum cryptography that will be strong enough to resist attacks by quantum computing. And these, I think, in the very near future, will be replacing our commonly used asymmetric algorithms like RSA and ECC. But because these standards are very nascent and there's not been widespread adoption of the PQC algorithms, and people are worried about what are the technical challenges to implement them in yes. And so a lot of organizations will prefer to adopt a wait and see approach, which is reasonable. But I will strongly recommend them that they should start to have a plan to transit into PQC algorithms within the next 1 to 3 years, because we may think quantum computing is maybe many, many years away. That was what we thought for Gen AI, right?
Yeah.
About, I think back in 2020, Gartner still says that Gen AI is on a hype cycle, right?
It's not coming.
Yeah, it's not coming.
The
Relax.
hype cycle.
Then suddenly ChatGPT happened. Everybody is scrambling to use AI and to protect AI, right? So now we see quantum computing. Hopefully, it doesn't come so soon, but you never know, right? There are a lot of genius researchers doing quantum computing in IBM, and we don't be caught in the back foot.
Now, do you think this is going to be mostly solved for people by the vendors, like the ones on the floor here, or there's going to be a lot of where the businesses need to figure out how they're going to is this going to be a big transition thing, or just new version of software, boom, I got a new set?
So I think as of now, the PQC standards by NIST is like the handy plus, the immediate thing that you can do. But I think in the longer term, technologies like quantum key distribution may be the key to having quantum secure telecommunications. And you need a combination of academia, government, and industry to come together. So actually in Singapore, we have this National Quantum Safe Network Initiative. And it is run as a consortium of partners from academia, government, and industry. And I think you need all three to come together to really, translate science projects into actual usable products for the industry, right? So government can come up with regulations, and encourage investment into research. Academia can do the actual research, come up with proof of concepts, and the industry will then translate this into actual products and hopefully also institute some standards for interoperability. Yeah. So of course I want to, how do I say, do some salesmanship here. ST Engineering is part of this National Quantum Safe Network initiative.
You can have an advertisement. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yes, that's right.
So to further to this, then I think if we take the techies and the CISOs and the cryptography, like they're looking into this already and they're thinking about it. What do you tell the leaders of these businesses? How do they keep up with this? How are they? Because I doubt they're going to get involved in these working committees. What is your kind of strategy to help them wrap their heads around this is coming, like it or not, and you better have a strategy for it?
Yeah. So a few thoughts. I think the first one is you really need to have some proactive planning and investment upfront. Like I keep mentioning about, now that NIST has come up with the PQC standards, as the former MINDEF CISO, I was trying to encourage people to start thinking about implementing these standards, short-term or immediate-term solution. And then I think it's also important for leaders to do some form of assessment, look at your systems. Where are critical systems? Where are the crown jewels of a network? Start from those. Implement PQC for those systems. Then slowly work backwards. Right? Because implementing new technologies on legacy systems is always challenging.
Yes.
Right? Everyone is different and it will take time. Right? So invest in protecting your crown jewels first, then slowly you can expand the protection. Collaboration with industry and government is important. Maybe allocate some of your R&D budget into quantum technologies. That will be useful, right? So that when it becomes available, you have a stake in it and you are able to get some fruits from your investment. Investing in human resource, right? Hire experts who are doing quantum security, or send your people for training in that field, right? So continue to level up your people, because in the end, the real capability in the organization is about people. Yeah. And I think as a CISO, I think one of the most important thing is about how do you balance security with business requirements, right? Your instinct is to, security is very important. No, 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 no. Right? But the business requires to take some risk for it to be innovative, for it to respond to market demands. And I think it's more of an art. The CISO will probably need to understand business requirements, then try to advise the business owners, these are certain risks. If I do ABC, are you okay with these risks? Yeah. And what is the level of mitigation you can do? And then let the business owners accept the risk. So you play an active partnership in advising, but you shouldn't be the one to say no. Let the business decide whether the level of risk they want to take. So my senior told me before, cybersecurity is like brakes in a car, right? While the brakes is meant to stop the car, but actually you will dare to drive faster if you have good brakes.
Yeah.
Right? If your brakes are no good, you will try to drive slower. Right? If you have good brakes, you can drive faster because you know that in an emergency, it will work.
Yeah.
So I think the same for cybersecurity. Organizations should look at it as a competitive advantage, right? With good security, you are able to innovate, you're able to take more risks and
feel safer.
Feel safer when you try to throw out new products for the market and try to respond to new demand. Yeah.
And lastly, is your view that, like it or not, or whether you're agree to this, as in the business leaders, the era of kind of quantum cryptography is coming for us, whether you start getting into it today or not, it's an inevitable evolution in cryptography?
Yeah, I think because quantum by itself has many useful use cases. Quantum sensing, quantum computing to, for parallel calculations. But just that every good technology can be used for bad things, right? Like the kitchen knife can be used to cook good food, but can be used to harm people. So unfortunately for quantum computing, there's a part of it that it can be used by bad actors to actually break asymmetric algorithms and put a lot of our existing encrypted data at risk. Yeah. So the faster an organization can adopt quantum secure algorithms, then we sort of keep the window of opportunity limited by the attackers, right? Because every information has a shelf life.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say I have a 5-year plan. In 5 years, this plan is no longer relevant. So can I keep it out of the attacker's hands for 5 years? Yeah. So the earlier we move to PQC, the faster we can keep attackers away from our data.
I think we probably have time for one more, right? If I don't see Joyce.
Yeah.
Sandra?
Following what you just mentioned, I was reading yesterday that RSA was broken. I don't know if you saw this article. Was broken by quantum computing, and I don't want to say where in the Far East, but I think we all know where. So I just want to say this is a reality.
Yeah.
It's not theoretical. And I think that from a CISO perspective, is you have now the AI, you're still trying to catch up. You're reading these articles like I read yesterday, like, where should I put my effort? Yeah, I can, contribute to universities. Yes, I can have a partner. Yes, I can advise, and I see all these products around here. Should I go to the quantum computing solution in the innovation pavilion, startup pavilion, or should I go to find an AI solution? Where do you think should I go?
Well, to answer this, I think the CISO needs to consult the business owner and be very clear what is important to the business, right? So for example, for the government, let's say defense, military, I think data security is very, very important, right? So they will likely invest in protecting against quantum threats. But if you are a business where you don't deal with classified information, but you want to be able to, for example, provide effective cybersecurity solutions to your customer, then AI for cybersecurity would likely be a good investment, right? So I think it really depends on what makes the business tick. What is the differentiating capability that the business needs, to do well, and what are the threats to those capabilities, and then you invest where it is. So there's no one size fits all. That's why there's so many vendors here, right? But if you know the business, you understand where the crown jewels, what's the key capability, what are the threats to those capabilities, then you invest to secure them.
Awesome. That's a good discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So
Thank you very much.
much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
I'm